Light is incredibly important. And the light in your studio is incredibly important as well. You want to make sure that your studio has the best lighting possible so that you can create the best drawings and paintings possible. The light in your studio often plays a huge role in the accuracy and the potential success of your drawings and paintings. Often it's the last thing to be considered, but the lighting in your studio plays a huge role in your success. Hello there everyone, Matt here with thevirtualinstructor.com, and in this lesson we're going to take a look at lighting your studio. And everyone's got a unique setup, of course, for where they like to work, so we'll try to cover all the bases here. We'll talk about the temperature of light, the intensity of light, how to set up your lights depending on whether you're working on a flat surface, a tilted surface, or even an easel. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Ideally, we would all love to have natural sunlight radiating into our studios both night and day. Obviously, this isn't possible, and even if we do have the holy grail of a north-facing window, the light will always be on the move as the sun makes its daily journey. Not all of us can work during the day, and some of us actually prefer to work at night. So since we can't always work from natural sunlight, we need to look into some options of where we can use artificial light to light our studios. It's easy to assume that all we need to do is drench our studios with as many lights as possible to best replicate the natural light of the sun. But this would be a mistake. Too much light is just as bad as having too little. In order to best light our studios, we need to have a good idea of the properties of light and how it affects the way that we perceive color and value. Let's first talk about the temperature of light. Not all light is created equal. Light can be warm or cool. The temperature of light is measured on a scale and is designated based on the degrees of a measurement called Kelvin. The temperature of light is measured on the Kelvin scale from 1000 to 10,000. Cooler light has a higher Kelvin degree, while warmer light has a lower degree. To make the scale a little easier to understand, let's take a look at a few examples. The embers in fire may be around 1000 Kelvin. See how warm and orange they are? A burning candle is a little cooler at about 1800 Kelvin. A standard incandescent light bulb may be around 2700 Kelvin. The sun at sunset may fall around 3400 Kelvin. The sun at noon is around 5000 Kelvin, and on a clear bright day may be as high as 6500 Kelvin. So sunlight, the light we actually want to replicate, is actually a cooler light instead of a warmer light. This means that if we use a standard incandescent light bulb, which has a warmer light, we're likely to not be able to match up the colors in our drawings and paintings as accurately as possible. In fact, we're likely to overcompensate for the warmer light that we see and instead make the colors that we add to our drawings and paintings a little too cool, which may in turn make our drawings and paintings look a little bit bluish, which is not something that we want to happen, obviously. Take a look at how the colors in these artworks change as the color temperature of the light emitted is adjusted. Notice how the colors change dramatically. So in order to accurately capture the colors in our drawings and paintings, we need to actually use lights in our studio that are a little bit cooler than the standard incandescent light bulbs. Ideally, we should be looking for bulbs and lights that emit color at around 5000 Kelvin, which is as close as possible to the same color temperature emitted by natural sunlight. Now, color temperature is obviously important, but the intensity of your light is also important. The intensity of the light will affect the way that you perceive value. Value, of course, is one of the 7 elements of art, and it deals with the darkness or lightness of a color. Now, value is perhaps the most important element of art because we use value to create the illusion of form, create the illusion of light, and of course the illusion of texture in a drawing. And if our perception of the value that we're trying to replicate is off a little bit, well, it's going to be a challenge when we create those drawings and paintings. So we want to make sure that the intensity of the light that we use is allowing us to see the full range of value, meaning that we're seeing the darkest darks, the lightest lights, and all of the values in between, and helping us replicate those in our drawings and paintings. If your light is too intense, then you're likely to overcompensate and create drawings and paintings that are too dark. And if your light is too weak, then you're likely to create drawings and paintings that are too light. The intensity or brightness of light is most commonly measured in lumens. The higher the lumens, the brighter the light. Ideally, we want to create an environment to work in where we have the right intensity of light directed at the drawing surface or painting surface. And one way we can measure this is by simply using a value scale. After setting up your lights, you can use a value scale to evaluate the intensity of your lights. Pay special attention to the white and black sections of the value scale. If the white appears as a light gray, then you may need more intense light. If the black appears as a dark gray, then your lighting may be too intense. Now, of course, different light bulbs are available in a variety of different lumens or different light intensities, and this is one way that we can control the intensity of the light. But obviously, another way that we can control the intensity of light is by moving the light itself. Obviously, putting the light closer to the art is going to make the light more intense, and moving it further away is going to lessen the intensity. That's why I strongly recommend having a lighting setup that's adjustable, so you can make adjustments based on your unique situation so you can find just the right light intensity for your setup. The angle that you position your lights is also important. Ideally, we want to create a lighting setup where we have an even distribution of light over the drawing surface, but we also want to minimize glare. Now, the way you set up your lights is going to be different depending on how you like to work. For example, if you like to work on a flat surface, that setup for your lighting is going to be different than if you like to work on a tilted surface. And also, if you like to work on an easel, well, your lighting setup is going to be a little different for that scenario as well. So let's take a look at each one of those scenarios. Let's first look at the ideal lighting setup for working on a flat surface. Although my preferred setup for drawing is on a tilted surface, I typically work on a flat surface so that the camera is positioned directly above the art for filming. In my studio, I have two LED panel lights supported on light stands on either side of the drafting table. These lights are positioned so that light is directed at a 45-degree angle on the artwork from both sides. This allows for an even distribution of light and minimizes glare or reflection. I also have a ring light directly above the art, but this light is only used for filming purposes or for photographing art. Here's a look at my setup from above. As you can see, there's lights on either side of the drafting table, and they're positioned at a 45-degree angle so that light is evenly spread over the surface. This also helps to minimize any shadows that might happen. Here's another look at my setup from the side. As you can see, the lights are up off of the surface of the drafting table, and they're tilted down at a 45-degree angle. Now, depending on your setup and the intensity of the light that you choose to use, you may have to move these lights up or down to find the right distance from your artwork so that you have the right intensity of light as well. For a tilted surface, I recommend moving the lights slightly behind you, but keep the angle at 45 degrees. This will result in an even distribution of light without any glare. Now, things change a little bit when we're talking about working on an easel. Of course, when you're working on an easel, you're looking directly at the art. And of course, the first tendency is probably to place the light directly above the easel and the painting. But what happens if you do that is the light at the top portion of the painting is going to be too intense, and the light at the bottom of the painting is going to be not intense enough. So you're going to have some trouble evaluating your values. You'll also be fighting quite a bit of glare. So the best thing to do if you are working from a singular light source is just move that light source a little bit behind you and angle it down at a 45-degree angle. Not so much, don't move it so far back that you're creating a shadow on your painting, obviously, but just enough so that you're getting an even distribution of light on the painting surface without your shadow getting away. Now, of course, this might require you building some type of contraption or a lighting rig in order to set this up properly. And of course, not all of us want to do that or can do that. I've found, however, that using two lights, one on either side, works well without having to build anything. In this case, we can position lights on either side of the art and behind the artist, again positioned at a 45-degree angle to the easel. You may have to move the lights around to find the ideal intensity and to eliminate any glare, but this beats building a lighting solution that lacks adjustability. Now let's get a little bit more specific and look at your lighting options and the bulbs that are available to you. The first type of bulb is the standard incandescent light bulb, and as we've discussed, these bulbs typically are found on the warmer end of the Kelvin scale and aren't generally suited for lighting in your studio. The second type of bulbs are fluorescent bulbs. These bulbs are typically long and slender, and some artists actually prefer these because they spread light fairly evenly. Not all of us, however, have the fixtures needed for this type of lighting and don't want to install them in our studio spaces. However, these bulbs do produce cooler light that's closer to natural sunlight. Then there's compact fluorescent bulbs. Compact fluorescent bulbs, or CFLs, work in the same way as standard fluorescent bulbs, but are coiled and their shape resembles that of an incandescent light bulb. These bulbs are available in a variety of different temperatures and lumens, making them ideal for use in a studio. They also fit in standard incandescent fixtures and can be used in inexpensive clip-on cans that can be purchased at most hardware stores. But one note of caution when using these bulbs: they are dangerous if they break, so handle them with care. Then there's LED panels. In my opinion, the best option for lighting your studio comes in the form of LED panels. This type of lighting has become extremely popular among photographers and videographers, and these are the types of lights that I use in my own studio. These lights are adjustable based on both color, temperature, and intensity, making them incredibly versatile. With a twist of the knob, these lights can output light with a warmer temperature or a cooler one based on your unique setup. The intensity of the light can easily be adjusted as well. When supported on a light stand, these lights are easily placed wherever you need them. And if your home studio is also your dining room, they can easily be stored away until your next painting or drawing session. LED panels also last a very long time. I've been using them on a daily basis in my studio for well over 2 years, and I've never had an issue. So there you have it. Lighting your studio is something that definitely should not be overlooked. As artists, of course, we are in the business of capturing light in our drawings and paintings, so we should also consider the light in the studios that we work in, of course. Now, of course, there are a variety of different options available to you, but none of the options that we talked about today are too expensive. Just keep in mind that every studio space is unique and you're likely to need to make adjustments. Some of you are going to need a little bit warmer light, some of you are going to need a little bit cooler light, some of you are going to need more intense light, some of you are going to need less intense light. You do have to do some experimentation to find the right light, but once you find the right light, it will help you progress your way to better and more accurate drawings and paintings. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were able to pick up a couple of things here and there. If you are new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. We cover a broad variety of drawing and painting subjects and mediums here on this channel. You won't be disappointed. We have a membership program over at thevirtualinstructor.com/members with drawing and painting courses, weekly live lessons, weekly critiques as part of the Members Minute, and a year-long curriculum for visual arts teachers. If you want to check out 3 of our course videos and ebooks for free, you can do so. I'll leave a link in the description below to both those free course videos and also to our membership program. If you want to check it out, you can start your trial for free. As always, thanks again for watching this, and I wish you all the very best in your artistic success.